You've been around her, you've laughed together, you've caught her eyes lingering on you, but then she looked away as if nothing happened. And now, late at night, you sit there wondering, does she actually like me, or am I just imagining it? This question has kept countless men up at night, replaying every word, every smile, every accidental touch. Because let's face it, nothing messes with a man's mind more than the uncertainty of whether the woman he desires feels the same way. That's the dangerous space where hope collides with doubt, and where most men get lost, overthinking every detail. But here's the truth she'll never admit out loud. Women leave subtle trails, psychological breadcrumbs, and if you know how to read them, you can finally step out of the darkness of confusion and into the clarity of knowing. Now, let me be brutally honest with you. Women are not always direct when it comes to showing interest. In fact, the majority of women won't tell you they like you because they fear rejection just as much as you do. So instead, they use what I call indirect honesty. It's their way of telling you without telling you. The problem is most men miss it. They're blinded by nerves, clouded by overthinking, and distracted by what they wish was true instead of seeing what actually is true. That's why you need to understand female psychology. Not the romanticized version you see in movies, but the raw, unfiltered psychology that operates beneath her smile, her words, and her silence. Let's start with her eyes, because they never lie. When a woman likes you, her gaze behaves differently. It's not always about her staring into your soul. Often, it's the exact opposite. She looks quickly, then looks away, and you catch her doing it again and again. This is because attraction creates both excitement and nervousness. If you've noticed her stealing glances when she thinks you're not paying attention, that's not random. It's her subconscious betraying her calm exterior. And if, when your eyes do meet, she doesn't just look away immediately, but lets the connection linger for a heartbeat too long, that's a sign she's allowing herself to be seen by you, even for just a second. But eyes aren't the only truth tellers. Pay attention to how her body reacts around you. Human psychology reveals something powerful. When someone is attracted, their body unconsciously seeks closeness. So if she finds small excuses to be near you, brushing past your arm, leaning in to hear something she probably could have heard without leaning, or positioning herself in your orbit when she doesn't need to, she's communicating in the language of proximity. Attraction isn't always about words. It's about how she rearranges her world just to feel a little closer to yours. Then there's laughter. Not the polite kind, not the empty giggles she gives when someone tells a corny joke. I'm talking about the laughter that bursts out of her before she can stop it. The kind that makes her touch your arm, tilt her head, or look at you with that spark in her eyes. Women laugh more freely around men they like because laughter lowers tension, creates connection, and signals comfort. If she laughs with you differently than with others, you've stepped into a space no other man occupies. And let's not ignore her attention. One of the deepest truths about female psychology is this: women give their energy where their emotions are invested. If she remembers small things you said weeks ago, if she texts you back quickly while taking hours to reply to others, if she seems to light up when you walk into the room, these are not accidents. That's emotional investment showing itself in real time. It's not about the words she says, it's about the effort she makes when she doesn't have to. Because here's the secret: a woman may hide her words, but she cannot hide where she puts her energy. So if you're wondering whether your crush likes you, stop obsessing over the one big sign and start paying attention to the patterns. It's never just one moment. It's the accumulation of little moments, strung together like pearls that, when seen clearly, reveal the necklace of attraction. The question is, are you willing to see it without doubting yourself? There's a dangerous mistake men make when trying to figure out if their crush likes them. They look for the one big sign, as if attraction is some magical fireworks display that suddenly makes everything obvious. But female psychology doesn't work like that. Attraction is layered, subtle, often disguised beneath gestures so small that if you blink, you'll miss them. Yet when you put them together, they create a picture so clear it's impossible to ignore. This is where most men fail, because they dismiss the details, they tell themselves she's just being nice, or they convince themselves they're overthinking. But here's the truth. Women rarely risk putting themselves fully out there. Instead, they test you. They reveal themselves slowly. And if you don't catch on, you'll lose the chance before it even begins. So let's talk about her voice. The sound of her words, the rhythm of how she speaks around you, is one of the most overlooked indicators of attraction. A woman who likes you unconsciously changes her tone. It softens, it lingers, it takes on a melody that's absent when she talks to others. Pay attention to how she addresses you compared to everyone else. Does she tease you more often, use your name in sentences, or lower her voice when the conversation turns personal? These aren't accidents. They're her way of creating a private world between the two of you, even if you're surrounded by people. Words may be universal, but tone is personal, and when her tone shifts with you, it's a sign her heart already has. Another hidden truth lies in her curiosity. A woman who's interested in you will want to know more than just the surface-level facts. She'll ask about your day, but then she'll dig deeper. What you thought, how you felt, why something mattered to you. She's not just fishing for information. She's mapping out your inner world, deciding if she can picture herself inside it. If she remembers small things you told her weeks ago, details you didn't even think she'd notice, that's a flashing sign of interest. Because here's something most men never realize. A woman who likes you will store information about you the way a collector treasures rare artifacts. She holds onto it because it matters to her, because you matter to her. Then there's the psychology of mirroring. This is one of the clearest unconscious signals of attraction. Watch carefully. Does she adopt your phrases, copy your gestures, or pick up on your body language without realizing it? That's because human brains mirror those we feel connected to. If she crosses her arms when you do, leans back when you do, or even matches your pace while walking, it's not coincidence. It's her subconscious trying to align with you. In female psychology, mirroring is her silent way of saying, I'm in sync with you. I feel what you feel. But let me give you a warning here. Not every smile, laugh, or question means she's romantically interested. Some women are naturally warm, naturally playful, naturally engaging. The key is not to look at each behavior in isolation, but to see the overall pattern. Is she investing her energy into you more than others? Does she consistently find her way back into your orbit, even when she doesn't have to? Is her attention on you different from the way she treats everyone else? If the answer is yes, then what you're seeing isn't politeness, it's attraction wrapped in subtlety. Here's the deeper layer though. Women often send signals not just to reveal interest, but to test your awareness. When she gives you hints, she's silently asking, is this man confident enough to notice? Strong enough to act? She doesn't want to spell it out because spelling it out removes the excitement, the mystery, the dance of attraction. So she leaves clues. There's a side of female psychology most men completely overlook, and yet it's one of the strongest indicators that she likes you. It's not in the obvious smiles, not in the playful touches. It's in the contrast between how she treats you and how she treats everyone else. Women don't just reveal attraction by what they do, they reveal it by how differently they act when you're involved. And if you can learn to spot that difference, you'll unlock one of the clearest truths about whether your crush actually feels something for you. Let's start with jealousy, because it's one of the rawest, most primal signals a woman can give. A woman who likes you might never say it outright, but her reaction when you mention another girl or give attention elsewhere will say everything. Watch her eyes. Do they flicker with annoyance, curiosity, or sudden silence? Does her tone shift, even slightly, when you talk about another woman? This is because attraction awakens a protective instinct inside her. She doesn't want competition, and she doesn't want to feel replaced. It's subtle, but it's real. She may even tease you about it, pretending it doesn't matter, when in fact it matters deeply. The psychology here is simple. We don't get jealous over people we don't care about. Another powerful sign lies in her protectiveness over you. Most men think protectiveness is something only men display, but the truth is, women show it too, just differently. If she likes you, she'll notice small changes others ignore. She'll ask if you've eaten, if you're tired, if something's wrong when your mood dips. She'll defend you in conversations, even when you're not around to hear it. She may even scold you lightly, the way someone does when they're invested in your well-being. This isn't just friendliness, it's emotional investment spilling into her behavior. A woman doesn't protect a man she feels nothing for. She does it when she feels connected, when she sees him as hers, even if only secretly. Now let's talk about vulnerability. This is one of the strongest indicators that goes unnoticed. When a woman opens up to you about her insecurities, her fears, her past, or her dreams, she's signaling trust. And trust is the soil where attraction grows. Women don't share their inner world with just anyone. They share it with the man they feel emotionally safe with. If she tells you things she hides from others, if she lowers her guard and lets you see the softer side beneath her armor, that's not just friendship. That's her heart showing you a door. The real question is, will you walk through it, or will you doubt what's right in front of you? Here's another truth most men miss. Women communicate interest by creating exclusivity, even in small ways. She may give you nicknames, inside jokes, or little rituals that only the two of you share. This is her subconscious way of carving out a private space with you, something no one else has. That's not friendliness, it's intimacy in disguise. When she does this, she's saying, "You're different. You matter more than the rest." Pay attention to those exclusive details, because they're some of the clearest signs of attraction. And don't ignore her effort. In psychology, effort equals interest. If she goes out of her way to see you, adjusts her schedule to match yours, or finds reasons to spend time with you when she doesn't need to, that's not coincidence. That's investment. Remember this. Women don't spend time where they feel nothing. Time is the currency of care, and if she's giving it to you, she's showing her hand, even if she never says the words out loud. But here's the hardest truth. Men often sabotage themselves because they're afraid to misinterpret. They play it safe, they assume she's just friendly, and in doing so, they miss the chance. They let her drift into someone else's arms because they failed to see what was obvious. The irony is, women often leave the clearest signs, but men talk themselves out of believing them. They think, "She couldn't possibly like me." That mindset is poison. If you keep doubting every signal, you'll never recognize when the woman you want is already choosing you. So remember, jealousy, protectiveness, vulnerability, exclusivity, and effort. These are not accidents. They are emotional fingerprints, unique to how she feels about you. If you see them, don't ignore them. Don't bury them under excuses. Recognize them for what they are, her quiet confession, written not in words, but in actions. And if you fail to see it, the saddest part is she'll think you didn't care, when in reality you were just too blind to notice. Here's the truth most men never learn until it's too late. Women rarely confess their feelings directly. They don't walk up and say, "I like you, I want you." Not because they don't feel it, but because female psychology works differently. Women are wired to hint, to test, to protect themselves from rejection, while still giving you a chance to see the truth. So the real question is not, does she like me? The real question is, am I paying enough attention to recognize her silent confession? Because if you fail to notice, she'll assume you're uninterested. And once she feels rejected, even unintentionally, she'll retreat into silence, leaving you to wonder what could have been. So how does she confess without words? One of the most powerful ways is through presence. If she chooses to spend her free time with you, if she lingers in your company even when she doesn't have to, that's her way of saying, "You matter." Think about it. Time is the one resource no one can get back. A woman who consistently chooses to give you her time is making one of the boldest confessions she can, without ever speaking a word. Most men ignore this because they think, "She's just being nice." But niceness doesn't make someone prioritize you. Interest does. Another way she confesses is through her appearance. Women are masters of detail. If she shows up looking her best when she knows she'll see you, if she plays with her hair, adjusts her clothes, or checks her reflection more often around you, that's not vanity. It's vulnerability. It's her subconscious saying, "I want to be seen by you, and I want to be desired by you." She won't tell you this directly because that would feel too exposed. Instead, she lets her actions whisper the truth. The question is, are you listening to the whispers? Now, here's a subtle but powerful confession when she creates excuses to touch you. Maybe it's brushing something off your shirt, nudging your arm playfully, or finding a reason to sit just a little too close. These touches may seem casual, but they're loaded with meaning. In psychology, touch is intimacy's first language. When she breaks the barrier of space, it's her way of saying, I trust you, I want closeness, I'm letting you in. Ignore that, and you're ignoring a confession as real as spoken words. But the deepest form of confession comes when she starts building a future around you, even in small ways. Listen to her words. Does she include you in future plans, even casually? We should try that restaurant sometime. Next summer, you'd love this place I visited. These aren't random comments. They're test balloons, her way of planting seeds to see if you'll water them. When a woman imagines you in her future, even hypothetically, she's already confessing attraction. She's telling you, without directly saying it, that she's picturing you as more than just part of her present. Now, how should you respond? This is where most men stumble. They either ignore the signs out of fear, or they rush in too aggressively and smother the attraction. The key is balance. When you notice her confession through actions, acknowledge it, not by calling it out, but by meeting it with confidence. If she gives you her time, give her your focus. If she touches you playfully, respond with calm strength, not nervous retreat. If she opens up about her life, share a piece of yours. Attraction thrives when it feels natural, when the dance is mutual, not forced. The worst thing you can do is doubt yourself. Doubt makes you hesitate, and hesitation makes her feel unseen. Remember this, women want to be noticed by the man they like, not ignored. They want their signals to be recognized, not dismissed. If you keep second-guessing every action, you'll miss the very thing you've been hoping for. Confidence isn't about making the perfect move. It's about being present enough to see what's real and courageous enough to respond without fear. So the next time you're with her, pay attention to the little things. Her eyes, her laughter, her time, her touch, her curiosity, her protectiveness. Put them together and you'll see the truth she's been trying to show you all along. She may never say the words, but her actions will shout it louder than any confession ever could. The question is, are you ready to listen? Because the greatest pain isn't rejection. It's realizing too late that she was choosing you all along and you were too blind to see it.